Welcome to the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best podcast. I'm your host, Claire Thomas. I'm on a mission to support women who feel stuck, unfulfilled and disempowered to have a successful, fulfilled, soul-led life. I guide women to reawaken their unique power so they can shine their light and reach their best. Whether you know it or not, you are an incredible, unique and powerful being, and you are here for a reason. Don't let it go to waste. This podcast is designed to support and enrich the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best self-development coaching cards. If you have a deck, then I thank you for helping me to shine my own light. And if you haven't, then follow the link in the show notes and head on over to my website to get your deck. It will be the best, most loved investment you make this year. But for now, sit back, relax, and let's work out how to shine all our lights brightly. Hi, and welcome again to the Shine Your Light, Reaching My Best podcast that supports the Shine Your Light cards. I'm so excited to have you with me today. This is episode 10 in double digits already. Wow, where does the time go? Once again, this is a completely unscripted podcast. I only remembered just now that I needed to record something. So I had in the back of my head that I wanted to talk about judgment today. And the reason for wanting to talk about that is realizing the depth of judgment that I experienced in my life was quite a wake-up call when I realized how much judgment creeps into so many different aspects of our lives, and what happens when we become aware of that and we are able to let go of it. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. If you have a deck of cards, then this is the card that I'm talking about. It's got some cracked earth on it, which has created some really beautiful shapes. It just goes to show that nature creates some incredible patterns if we're willing and able to slow down and take the time to see them. So on the front of this card, it says, release the power of your judge. And this is something that I've been working on for well over a year, 2 years now, but I have to work on and catch myself in all the time. It's judgment is a habit. It's a habit that we probably learn when we're young, that it's a way of being. We observe our parents making comments about other people, and those comments are actually judgments. They're our opinions on the way other people are leading their lives. They're also maybe their judgments about ourselves. And we also make judgments about things that are completely and utterly out of our control. So on the Positive Intelligence program that I am so in love with and love sharing with my clients, we talk about the judge quite a lot. And there are 3 different aspects to the judge. There's the judge of self, the judge of others, and the judge of situation or circumstance. And the judge always has this heavy, negative, weighty element around it. It's when we're adding an opinion to something, and that opinion, if we really were to dissect it, is coming from a place of fear, because we feel threatened. And our survival instinct is being put into place to try and protect us. So we judge ourselves, others, or a situation. So if I break that down into each of the 3 different types of judge, the first one, judge of self. So that sounds pretty easy. And I think we all do this. I think women are particularly susceptible to being very, very harsh critics of ourselves. We judge ourselves for how we look, for how much we weigh, for what we wear. We judge ourselves for all the intangible aspects of our personalities as well, the how we show up, our confidence, how we performed in something, the role we play as a as a parent, as a partner, as a sister, a daughter, as a friend. And how does it show up, this judgment? It's, I look fat, I don't look good in this, I'm no good at this, I can't do this, I'm useless. All these negative words that sit around judgment. So I think that one is pretty clear and understanding and easy to understand. And I invite you to just maybe spend this week observing how often you are judging yourself. How often do you look at yourself in the mirror or berate yourself because you've dropped something or burnt something or forgotten to do something? How do you talk to yourself when you're judging yourself? And I can pretty much guarantee it's not going to be sounding very nice when you do that. So the second type of judgment is a judge of others. And I believe that I would make up the excuse that my judgment of others was about making observations of other people. Oh, look at what they're wearing. That doesn't look very nice. Or, oh, their socks are too long. Or, this is mismatched. Or, why are they walking like that? Or anything where you're in your head or conversing with somebody else, making a comment about what somebody else is doing or their way of being. Who is it for me who am I to make these judgments about somebody else? What makes my opinion the right one? Everybody is entitled to show up in this world the way that they want to show up in this world and to be who they are. Imagine if we could accept everybody for who they are, for their uniqueness, for their authenticity. Imagine if that was possible and we were all able to have compassion and kindness for everybody else's quirks of character. Wouldn't that be a really different place that we lived in? And that's what this judge of others is about. It's how do we recognize when we are judging others? And when we're judging them, is it really an observation that comes from a place of love, or is it a judgment? And to help you distinguish a little bit between the two, if it's if it's an observation with discernment, you may be saying something like, hey, notice how that person is hobbling along the road. That must mean that they have something wrong with their hip. Gosh, that must be really uncomfortable and must make their life really challenging for them. And I wonder if they're feeling pain. Those observations and those words come from a place of love. They're not a judgment saying, look at the way that person's walking down the street, don't they look silly? Can you get that difference between the two? So my invitation to you over the course of this next week is to notice when you're making judgments of other people. And then when you notice that you've made a judgment of somebody else, think about what's really sitting underneath that judgment. What is it about what that other person is doing or how they're being that is making you judge them? Because I promise you that underneath all of that, there is some insight about you and about experiences that you've had that make you show up in that way. So just observe these judgments of other people. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Don't judge yourself for having made them, but just start by bringing some awareness to them. And once you have that awareness, it gives you that space to choose a different response and to choose a response that comes from that place of love rather than from the place of fear. So the third type of judgment is the judge of a situation or circumstance. So that could be anything, like it could be judging the weather for how the weather is. It could be having a judgment on something that is happening, like a war or a really big event. We pass judgment on these things when we have no real control over them at all. I say no real control. We have no control over any of these things. The weather will be as it's meant to be on each day. The weather is a miracle. It happens how it happens for a reason. Nature knows what it's doing, and it provides us with all the water that we need when we need it. It provides us with the sunshine when we need it. And nature gets on and it adapts. It all happens for a reason, and it is out of our control. Sure, we influence weather and nature by our own actions, but that's not something I wanted to cover right now in this moment. But see if you can, for example, notice the weather. I say that because the Brits are so good at making observations and judgments about the weather. Oh, it's too cold today, and that means I can't do this. Oh, it's raining today, and that means that it's going to be an awful day. But imagine if you could just switch that round and not judge the weather, but to celebrate the fact that the rain is providing essential nourishment to the rest of nature and the benefit that that has. And hey, if it rains, you get to wear a different top, a different coat when you go out. You have a different experience. The rain is not going to be what impacts and ruins your day. It's how you choose to respond to the rain that makes the big difference. So again, I invite you to, just as you would be observing how you are judging yourself, how you judge others, also observe what other judgments you make about situation or circumstances. A few other quick examples of those that have just come to me is, for example, judging the financial situation you might be in, the health situation you might be in, the situation that your house got flooded. You can choose how you respond to those situations. And I know that is confronting and challenging, but it is your choice. So my invitation is simply to start to become aware over the course of this week of any sort of judgment that you make, and you'll recognize it because it has an energy of negativity around it. So I hope that you have found that interesting. I hope it's not too much of a heavy topic, but believe me, when you can break through and start to master judgment and see things with more discernment, it makes a huge difference. And as I've mentioned on other episodes, positive ways of seeing things have positive energy, and they build on themselves and helps us see everything in a more positive way. And that in turn helps us attract more positive things. I hope that you found that interesting. I can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. Please do like, share and comment. I am looking to grow the size of this podcast a bit, so I would really, really appreciate if this resonates with you, then please do like, share or subscribe. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Shine Your Light, Reach Your Best podcast. Your support is greatly appreciated, so please follow the show. I'd love you to like, comment and share this episode with anyone else whose light needs some help shining. I'd love to hear from you, and I'm open to having guests on my podcast. So if you would like to share your story, please send me an email to claire@reachingmybest.com or click on the link in the show notes. So for now, keep shining and reaching for your best.